Welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Josh, joined as ever by Ray and Mike. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
We are doing all right. Well, I'm doing all right. How are you, Ray?
Oh, I'm pretty well. You're allowed to speak for me in this instance. I'm good.
We
I don't want to impose
we have a
myself.
collective consciousness here, so yeah, one can speak for all.
I know we're more of a hive mind, actually.
Yeah, that's how Unscripted Gaming rolls.
We're
like ants. Is that what we are?
Yeah, basically. And whoever does the intro is the queen.
Ew.
Speaking of which,
Okay.
that episode of Rick and Morty.
Okay, all
no
right.
Spoilers.
I'm out.
Well, this has
Please
been
stop.
Unscripted Gaming. Thanks for listening. Glad you stuck by through this little 3-week hiatus while we were all really busy. I hope this was everything you hoped for. In our final
We've declared
episode.
that Mike is not the queen ant. Clearly.
No.
I'm one of the ants that wants to kill itself. Is there an ant like that?
They are. When they get infested with that fungal virus,
Oh,
they
yeah.
actually leave the colony to try to kill themselves.
Well, that's because the thing actually makes them go to a really high place so that it can get like blown in the wind and spread even further.
Yeah. It's pretty fucked up.
Well, that's kind of terrifying.
If you've not played the game Last of Us, that's exactly what that fungal disease in Last of Us is based on.
Okay, ants are really cool. You want to see a really dope murderous ant? I think it's called the Sarafu or Sharafu, something like that. But this ant is blind, and they basically like swarm together. So some of the ants will like build on the side while the others move through in like a tunnel, and they just eat anything they come across. And sometimes that's people. But
so this is Siafu.
Siafu, that's it.
And the accounts of it actually eating a person, because I've read the exact same thing, because they're featured in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, where they're like increased to like 4 times their size. Those are exaggerated accounts. You have to like fall asleep on the Siafu anthill before they will like eat you. Otherwise, they're like bugs, and they just get kind of threatened because look at you, you're the size of this giant skyscraper. You're like, look at me, I'm big life form. And they're like, all right, we're just not gonna fuck with you unless you fall asleep on their hill. Then they gotta defend themselves and burrow a hole through your
Ants
body.
gotta eat.
Ants gotta eat.
Ants gotta eat.
Rallies.
Welcome to Unscripted Bugs. It's our dedicated bug podcast. This week we're talking about our favorite bug, the ant.
I'd like to introduce you with our guest entomologist, Josh.
I think if I were to be like a biologist or something like that, I'd have gone into the study of ants because I think ants are dope.
All right. I mean, why not bees?
Man,
how many ants have
bees.
Josh? Have you ever eaten a bug, like intentionally? I don't know why. I'm just wondering.
Not
What a hot
intentionally,
question.
but I've come very close to buying like cricket flour and like roasted crickets. So I have a feeling I will soon.
No. Well, actually, have you ever had a fig Newton?
Yes, I've had.
Those have bugs in them.
So I've heard the
As
rumors
I've
of
heard.
that. Like every so many parts of Fig Newton is actually wasp, and you know what? I'm cool with that.
Well, I mean, if you really
It's
look
a
into
soft, cakey cookie shell surrounded with a bug filling. That's what fig Newtons are. It's usually like,
actually, the
It's
dust
pure
on the
wasp
outside of the fig
with-
Newton
with a
isn't
whisper
flour.
of fig.
It's wasp dust.
Yeah, you see, yeah.
Just like
No.
kissed it with enough fig to where the FDA says that's a Fig Newton.
You
can call that a Fig Newton.
You want to talk about like bugs in food? Yeah, there are wasps in fig Newtons because the wasp goes to the fig to, and I almost said inseminate, but that's not the right word.
I mean, probably.
And then the farmers pick the wasps off the figs and then cook them into fig
It's like the
Newtons, 'cause that's
anglerfish.
all
It
they are.
attaches and then becomes a pair of just dangling testicles. Anyway, I digress. You should
That's
look up
not
like.
how anglerfish.
Actually, yes, it is. Look up anglerfish.
Okay, the male and the female. Now I see what
Yeah.
you mean. I thought you meant like.
I'm not googling that.
No,
I'm not doing that.
no. I'll send
I'm
you a
not
link,
doing
Mike. I'll send you.
Oatmeal has a great comic on
The
it.
best thing is I'll send you
actually.
the Animal Planet GIF. Does it as people. It's
Oh, there's
very-
a GIF.
Oh,
Once I get through what I was about to say, I will find this GIF and I'll send it to you, and then you can maybe find a way to post it too, so everybody else can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of bugs in food, you should really sometime look up like the FDA regulations on like permissible amounts of fecal matter and bug particles and rodent droppings and stuff in food because you can't keep it all out.
Right, and that's
Nope.
You know what?
Nope.
I
It's
heard about this as a
100%
kid.
clean. It's 100% good. There's nothing wrong with my food. It's 100% fine.
It's 100, so many parts per million. I'm like fine with that.
How much poop in chocolate?
I think it's like 2 parts per like 3 million. It's something minuscule on a microcosm scale.
Have a limit of 1 milligram of excrement per pound of food in things like spices and herbs, like pepper, thyme, and hot peppers.
I mean, you're not going to notice someone's, let's be real. If someone shit into, like, 2 pounds of pepper, but there's only, like, 1 milligram spread throughout all that pepper.
Okay.
Statistically, one of the times when you dust your eggs, with a little seasoning, that's straight shit.
Yep, one of those little flecks. Hey,
No,
don't worry, guys. The high limits are cocoa beans, which have 10 milligrams per pound, and wheat, the stuff that makes bread, 9 milligrams per pound.
9 milligrams per pound is pretty. We're starting to get high numbers now. Let's be real. Really think about that. That's a smear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a if you're getting like some 9 grain bread or something like that, that's a grain. That's
no, don't worry, one of them grains. Did I tell you the first 8 grains legit? The 9th grain is not a grain.
You're like you have that thought of like that's a little small to be a sesame seed. Also, if you guys get a chance, just take a look at our Skype chat window and just watch.
I am so furious that I've been tricked into watching this. This is horrible. I do not want this.
Apparently, this
is
from a series where Animal Planet used to like go over different things that animals did and then tried to like show the human equivalent. Like, what if humans could do this? So,
no.
It's just like kind of dumb to say what if humans could do this. But
like, why? You know what? Oh, wow. Okay.
So why is it in the in the GIF that Josh has sent us? Because no one can see it.
I didn't take a shower. Oh my god.
It is showing like a very tiny male naked man swimming up to a very large male female, or maybe she's normal size and the guy is just really small. But he dives face first into her lower back, and can I just say, clearly the woman CGI figure orgasms as this happens.
That's kind of how the anglerfish actually works. When she wants to have babies, after the male has basically become part of her, his eyes and his gills, like his eyes and his fins rot away, and he's just gills and gonads. And she sends pheromones through her bloodstream, and he releases semen and impregnates her. And that's how it works.
That is quite possibly the most inefficient form of reproduction I've ever heard.
It's okay.
It's very efficient for anglerfish because they're very low to the ground, so only one of the people in the chain has to eat food. The male anglerfish doesn't eat food when he becomes an adult. He literally just goes to find the female. So
okay. For population control,
I need you to promise me that you're going to edit out
when you're in the bottom of the deep sea and your food is tough and you've got a lot of pressure.
Promise me that. I need you to promise me that you will edit this out.
This is all in.
Just please, I beg of you.
I'm just gonna place this GIF, or at least pieces of this GIF, into the video. It's going to require some extra work, but the payoff will be
it's worth it.
Outstanding.
Might be our best video yet.
Games.
Welcome to Unscripted Dumbass.
So should we talk about
apparently just talk about whatever the fuck is on our minds.
I was going to say, should we talk about video games or
Can we talk about the new Sonic game? Can I be a child? Can I be 8 years old again?
I haven't.
Are you an anglerfish or not? Because that will your answer. It depends.
Listen here, Mike. How dare you? I am a warm-blooded American that is not an anglerfish.
Okay, just wanted to check. Then yes, you can go home again.
Did everyone here get that new Sonic game?
I have not.
I have, but I've only played the very just early little bit, but it's. I'm presuming you're talking about Sonic Mania.
Yes.
It's a old school, like 16-bit, but probably has some art that wouldn't have worked on the Genesis. But it's definitely it's very much like a new old Sonic game. And so far, it's like, it's not like good for Sonic. Like, I think it's actually good.
I'm loving it. I think I'm well over halfway through the game, and yeah, I'm loving every moment of it. And I'm not even like a huge Sonic fan. Well, I don't know. I like Sonic 1, 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I appreciate the Sonic Adventure games. I think Sonic Generations was one of the best games released in a while. List pretty much ends there, gonna be honest. But then this gem comes along, and yeah, this is great. I love the level design. I love the music choices and motifs. I love how it calls back to older Sonic games. I really do feel like I'm 8 years old again, playing a brand new Sonic game. In my mind, it's just being blown by certain little level quirks and motifs and bosses. It's fun. It's really good. $20.
In just the little bit I've done, I mean, I think it's kind of balancing a good line of being pretty nostalgic, but then also doing like kind of not being afraid to change it up and kind of add new mechanics and change the music a little bit. I think with just a little bit I've played, I think I've seen a little bit of that. So I hope that continues, and yeah, I'm excited to play more of that because it's pretty enjoyable.
I think you're in for a fun time. I've been liking it.
And I guess just to talk about some games I've been playing, because I am playing Sonic Mania on my Nintendo Switch, which I finally jumped on the Switch train.
Woo!
Because we kind of impulsively got one this weekend.
Do you have a story about how you got it? Because they're still hard to find.
You know, it was early it was Saturday morning. We just called our nearest location, and they're like, "Yeah, we have a few," and we're like, "Okay." We drove over and then kind of got it, and that was so. It was not a chaotic adventure. It was pretty straightforward, so it was nice. And I like it. Okay. It's really cool. It's a really neat little device. Everything just feels good. I've been playing a couple games. We've been playing some Puyo Puyo Tetris, which is a very...
Should I get that game?
You should get that game because it's like Tetris, but also you're playing Puyo Puyo, which is like one of those games where you have to get like 4 little dudes, and then that color like blows up of the connecting colors, and you have to like kind of get combos and chains with it. And then sometimes there's like different modes where you're like playing the games simultaneously on the same board. There's ones where it's like you switch between the Tetris and then go to the Puyo Puyo screen and then back to the Tetris. So it's pretty wild. It's very Japanese, like it's all in English, but it's very Japanese. So just be advised.
How much does it go for?
I think it was like 20. I think
20 or 30
something, 20 or 30. But it's pretty fun. It's pretty great. It's got a fun battle mode. It's real good. I've been playing.
It's actually 40.
Oh shit! Oh man! Ooh,
no, it's worth it. It's good. Get it. It's good.
Okay. All right.
We've also been playing just kind of some other kind of catching up on some of the Switch launch stuff. I've been playing some Snipper Clips, which is like a little co-op puzzle game, and it's very adorable and fun. You're 2 little dudes, and you're like cutting yourself like little cutesy paper shapes to solve puzzles, and it just has a lot of good polish, and it's just really fun as like a good co-op game. And I think it's well designed around just using like the Joy-Con, like just one of those things. It's pretty small, like it's weird, but for games like that where it doesn't require a lot of like crazy input, like it's mostly fine. Like I wouldn't want to play Mario Kart on that thing like by itself, but for like Snipper Clips it's totally fine and it works great. And that's kind of most of the main Switch stuff I've been playing. I've been jumping around to a lot of different stuff lately. It's I I guess the kind of last one I want to mention that I've been playing a bit of is I've been playing some Dead Cells.
So that's that Metroid game, right?
Kinda. It is like a 2D It's kind of a 2D run based kind of it's more like a Castlevania than like a Metroid, where you're kind of running through little dungeon areas.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting upgrades and weapons, and as you there are checkpoints where you can spend your the currency to get permanent kind of upgrades, and so just you can kind of burn through things faster, and it makes it easier to get farther. It's still in early access right now, but I really like it. Like the game just looks really cool. Like it has a kind of retro look, with with some of the graphics, but it has a lot of it just has a lot of really good polish in it. It's just a very snazzy looking game, and so far the stuff that they've added to it has been pretty good. So it's a really good one more run kind of game, and I've been really enjoying that so far. So
can you get that on Switch or just Steam?
I think it's just on Steam right now.
Yeah,
but that would be. I'm starting to now realize I didn't realize how much I just want every game to be on the Switch right now.
Right? Are you with me in this?
I'm looking through my Steam library. I'm like, why isn't this a Switch game? Why isn't this a Switch game? It's like every game should just be a Switch game now.
It's the beauty of Switch, and I admit I believe the words I used was cautiously optimistic. I'm in this full hog now, because the beauty of Switch comes in is when you're on a plane and you're playing literally any other console game you could have otherwise in the comfort of your seat, and that's just kind of wonderful.
Yeah, it just needs more stuff. I'm like, Dead Cells would be so awesome to have on Switch. That'd be man.
Yeah, I mean, I just my wife is a shaper of young minds and was getting her classroom ready a week ago, and I went with her, and I basically just sat in her class and played Switch while she was doing work. It was just like, this is incredible. Here I am sitting playing a full-fledged Zelda game away from my home in a hand. It was just this is the fucking future.
Yeah, it's really I really enjoyed it.
VR.
What do you just about a VR headset you can just take on the go?
The Switch killed VR. You heard it here. I said it first.
If it means I get Dead Cells on my Switch, then yes, by all means, please kill VR. Go ahead.
That's what it takes for Mike to kill VR. Just put Dead Cells on Switch.
Have fun storming the VR startup.
Have you seen the latest trend? This is video game worthy, I guess. There are games. Oh, sorry, there's a dog outside. There are games now that were coming out for Steam or the PlayStation Network, or I'm sorry, the PlayStation Store, that were originally programmed for VR, but the developers have had changes of heart, and they've taken off VR support, and that's starting to become a trend where games that were a year plus, 2 years sometimes in development, they're just never mind, we're not putting this on VR. And to this day, Oculus has still not officially released their official numbers for how many headsets that they've sold. I think the downfall has begun. Is it there? I don't know. Maybe. Not yet.
It is. I mean, I guess, we haven't. It has been kind of quiet on the VR front. I mean, there's a lot of rumblings about hardware kind of changes coming up, but it definitely feels like the hype is. I think the honeymoon is definitely over with VR. I mean, it doesn't help that Palmer Luckey turned out to be a huge butthead. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of I guess I'm not exactly trolling through all the VR releases. I don't have a VR headset other than our the Samsung phone one, which I can't remember what it's called right now.
Gear VR.
Gear VR, yes.
Yeah.
Other than a Gear VR, I don't have an Oculus Rift or Vive. But I'm not really trolling through the releases of it, but I've been watching, like, Giant Bomb has been doing some good VR stuff where every so often they kind of troll through the new releases of VR. And a lot of them are just kind of like shooting galleries, and I mean, there's a couple of cool things out there, but it kind of feels like I think we're due for some good stuff in VR. Is like, I mean, because Resident Evil 7 came out a lot earlier this year, and people really liked that in VR.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of, now that we've kind of gotten the first cycle of VR stuff out, I think and a lot of people are kind of working on like the second wave of VR titles.
Sure.
I hope that they're able to do more and like really create some new different experiences and do it other than like shoot at targets coming at you.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the kind of longevity test, and I mean, it's still just like the pricing, and it's just, there are a lot of barriers to entry, and the one I think that is most easily removable is creating compelling software. That's, other than like hardware, making it easier for people to use VR game, like to get full, kind of game VR, and like I think yeah, that's going to be the thing they need to look at.
So you're saying that creating software for VR is the easiest angle of attack versus like pricing schema or accessibility?
I'm thinking if it's either, I mean, if you're looking at, like full on Vive or Oculus type VR, I think rather than trying to like, have a $100 headset fire sale, if you just get more, I mean, it is kind of a chicken and egg thing, but giving people a real reason to like, giving people like the VR exclusive that's really gonna move some stuff, that's like getting more of those.
Like, where's their Breath of the Wild with the bigger attach rate than Switches sold? Where's that game?
Yeah, that's kind of my thing, is that it's like, that's going to be like I think that's kind of why I was saying, like, now that people have kind of gotten their feet wet with VR and know how to, maybe what kind of things work in VR, like how to make a game where I need to move around the environment in like a typical first person way, but not have people getting motion sick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, kind of figuring out those kinds of challenges, I think people are going to be able to focus on hopefully creating like more interesting experiences. So I guess VR is definitely kind of cooled off this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see 2018 is kind of the, like, where we start hearing a lot about what VR is going to look like in the next good, like, 5 years. We shall see.
Josh, you've been awfully quiet.
Yeah, I think we're in that period where the early adopters are working with what they've got, and the companies are putting in those research dollars to take what they've learned from the first launch and customer feedback as they keep miniaturizing, bettering the technology, trying to do things wirelessly and get to that point where they can have something like just glasses, or even just kind of rethinking, like maybe it's not just a simple headset that completely blocks us out. Maybe it's more of an AR angle, which I've heard a lot of. The people are looking to more incorporate augmented reality rather than just straight virtual reality, depending on the application. So I think that we're just in that time period where developers are still learning to make the software, or what they can do, what limitations they have, and working the companies that make the hardware are working on the next generation of the hardware, trying to see what will happen next and work with the developers to say, hey, this is what we're working on, this is what's coming down the pipeline in the next 3 to 5 years. Be thinking about that. So I don't think we're gonna see the death of VR per se, but I definitely think we're gonna see
change.
Yeah, we're gonna see the shift soon. I think we're gonna, in the next maybe year, we will know the next, we might start getting information about what the next iteration of the Vive and the Oculus look like in 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
I was like, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I guess I'm still not exactly. I mean, I guess I am in the target audience of VR, and I'm still not really dying to go out and grab one. So it'll be, if they can, do some kind of voodoo magic to get it down to just 2 USB ports instead of like the 5 it takes now.
That's another thing.
Maybe we can talk, but we'll get there when we get there. Josh, I don't know if you mentioned, but is there any games you've been playing lately that you wanted to give a little piece about?
I've been making a lot of progress on Breath of the Wild, as I kind of alluded to earlier, playing Zelda. The missus and I have been making a lot of progress on that. Getting much closer to the end of the game. Finally, getting ready to storm the castle and fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Whenever you think you're ready to storm that castle, don't worry, you're still not ready.
Yeah, so I definitely I tried to go up the front door, and I thought it was hot shit, and I was like, you know what? This is a really bad idea. I've already been to the castle once before in a sneaky fashion. I should probably do that again.
Yeah.
Because the explorer in me is like, I want to see everything. I want to see the whole castle. And then the realism was in me like, I need to cut out as much as I can because this is fucking tough.
Yeah, I think I kind of burned. I think by the time I got to fighting the castle, I'm pretty sure I just walked in the front door because narratively it felt really good.
Well, yeah.
You just have to get really good at parrying the lasers and just punk your way through it. Just like it just feels real.
I didn't learn to parry the lasers until after I beat the game.
I did not know
someone showed me that.
So
I was like, oh man.
Mike saying that is making me know that is a thing that I could do, because I was gonna say, I was like, I'm gonna storm the castle because that's what Link would do, and that's a badass statement again. And my wife was like, just go around the back, and I was like, no. And then I lost 3 shields almost immediately trying to deflect lasers, and I was like, maybe I should go in the back.
Oh, I went in the back.
Parry it. You have to parry
with the sword.
No, with your shield. You can do like the ching.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I remember that.
Okay, hold down the shield button and then press A. And then start punking guardians by reflecting their lasers at them.
Do you have to have a guardian shield, or is it any metal shield?
Any
metal shield. I think the guardian shields might honestly do it automatically.
No, they don't.
Yes?
They do not. Trust me, they don't.
They do for the little ones. They do not do it for the big ones.
That's right. Okay. I was like, well, they do it for somebody, but I couldn't remember who. Yeah.
Bear in mind, you have a half-second window to do that. It's kind of strict on the timing.
And then for the walkie dudes, you just use the time lock and then chop off legs.
So yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. Yeah, and that's really been about it for me. A little bit of PlayerUnknown's Battleground here and there.
Still good.
No, yeah,
I got
still good.
Chicken dinner. Chicken dinner tastes so goddamn good.
Oh, it's so good.
I was gonna say nice, and then I started yawning. Yeah, that's a good feeling. It's a good fucking feeling.
I almost got one last night. Someone with a goddamn M24 gunned me down at 400 meters away, and I got second place.
I've had some real bad luck lately.
Yeah,
it's been frustrating.
Yeah, Mike and I did some duos, and we were getting punked pretty hard.
Well, I just have a really bad habit of like, oh, if I throw this grenade, and then I'll be able to get these guys while they're kind of like flashbanged, and we'll be fine. But then remember, it's faster to read the entirety of Moby Dick than it is to throw a grenade in that game. Where it's just like, step 1, pull pin. Step 2, stare lovingly at grenade. Step 3, kiss it goodbye. Step 4, tell it that you'll never forget Paris.
Step 5, regret your decision and try and put the pin back in for about 20 minutes.
Make sure that grenade gets on that plane. I need you to get on that plane.
The grenade is fucking doing the scene from Casablanca.
Yes, it is. And then step 6, you die, and then Josh laughs at you because you're dumb, and it usually happens like that. I just need to not pick grenades up. Honestly, it really just gets me into trouble.
Smoke grenades are god tier. I have gotten a chicken dinner once before because of effective use of smoke grenades.
I really need to cut that. I really need to cut that clip too soon. There may or may not have been a time where Mike and I were running a duo, and I had to leave because Charlie Joe started crying, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go, and I'm running at Mike, and I jump in the air, and I punch him in the face and take out 99% of his health.
Wow.
I was like, dude, I was so bad. I was so mad.
To which I then
bye. Doop.
I then promptly left, like, peace.
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure you went AFK, and I think you still actually lasted longer than I did because I started doing motorcycle stunts, and then I killed myself, and it was bad. Yeah, that game's good. I want to see.
Did you know that the pan can deflect vehicles?
Yes. Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a video online of a guy hops into a car. He's about to run over someone, and said someone moves to the left, and the vehicle hits him, but it hits his pan that he has on his hip.
No.
And you see sparks fly, and the car moves out of the way, and said guy shoots the assailant in the head while he's driving. And yeah, they do a slow motion replay, and you see the car slide off of the pan attached to the other dude's head.
Man,
that's incredible.
Now that's why you go
right.
cast iron, okay?
The pan is god tier weapon. It's the best armor in the game. It blocks literally everything.
Apparently I'm not playing this game right.
I got a kill with the crossbow, thus proving it's not the most worthless weapon in the game.
Okay, yeah, I don't believe you. That's not
hand to your deity, I got a kill with the crossbow. What happened was...
incredible.
Or it did not happen.
Fucking hell, I knew you'd say that, but I didn't. I wasn't recording at the time. I dropped in, I ran into a house...
See, a lot of what you're saying right now sounds like a you problem.
It's
Pix,
oh my.
Or it didn't happen.
I don't care if you said Pix or didn't happen. I know what happened.
Well, clearly he did it once, so you can obviously just do it again, right?
Oh, man. It was hard to get that one. Because what happened was I dropped in, I ran into the house, I heard someone running towards me. Inside my house was nothing but the crossbow and 5 bolts. Pretty much nothing for as far as...
Mike, do you hear that? Do you hear that?
You see, it's like, I'm sure it went like you see the crossbow in the first room. You check every other room on that floor. You go to the second floor. You check every other room in that floor.
I'm sorry, Mike. Do you hear that?
Fine. What? Hear what?
It sounds like a chump.
Listen, hear me out.
Kind of. I know a lot of chumps, and it kind of sounds like a chump.
I hear the guy coming. I load the bolt. I knock it back. The guy bursts through the door. He has what I call Betsy, which is the over-under shotgun. He aims at me. I move to the right. He unloads both barrels, rapid fire. But because I moved to the right, he missed. And I hit him once with the crossbow, insta-kill. That was it. I got 4th place in that game. I didn't even get very far. I told everyone that would listen to me, I got 1 kill with the crossbow. That's it. Josh clearly doesn't believe me, and that's fine. I know what happened. I saw the Loch Ness Monster, and I got the kill with the crossbow.
You know, whatever makes...
fuck if you believe me.
Whatever makes you feel better.
It makes me feel great, alright? I'm going to assume by your lack of belief that you've never gotten killed with crossbow.
I don't believe that I have.
The only good thing about the crossbow is in the early game, it's a 1-hit kill. That's it. That is literally the only good thing about that weapon. Other than that, worthless. Absolutely worthless.
You are not wrong there.
That's all I've been playing lately, PUBG and Sonic Mania. You guys been playing anything else?
I think I already covered most of the stuff I've been playing here. I always
Then I believe it's time for Josh's Tech Minute. Josh, you have the floor.
Yeah. So Threadripper is out. It's here, and Intel has a really big problem on their hands. Just some anecdotal stuff. The benchmarking I've been looking at and people I've been seeing, let's just say real quick, the high end Threadripper from from AMD is the 1950X, and that is their 16 core. I think it is 3.1 megahertz, and it goes up to 4.0. I think it can overclock to, and Intel's processor at the same price point, $1,000, is the 10 core at 3.3 gigahertz with a 4.5 boost. So we're talking about the same price for 6 more threads and 6 more cores and 12 more threads. In benchmarking, if you look at Cinebench scores, they talk about rendering and stuff like that. The Threadripper 1950X gets a score of around 3028, while the Core i9 7900X, which is Intel's $1,000 chip, gets a score of 2180.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Plus,
Intel's getting lazy.
Yeah, it's bad. Plus, the Ryzen Threadripper chips have much better thermal performance than the Intel chips, meaning that you don't have to have as expensive of a cooling solution. Like, you're all right using an all-in-one cooler if you're not overclocking and whatnot, rather than having to get some custom liquid cooler to keep those puppies in order. So, yeah, I know Intel has some other chips coming out to compete with those. They do have a 16-core, 32-thread chip announced. It has not come out yet, but that's $1,700 to have
no
a
one's
chip.
buying that.
Yeah. Plus the fact that the platform that it comes on, the X399 motherboards and all that other stuff, is a lot more expensive too. It's like, why would you pay the extra $700 plus to compete with something that does the exact same? Like, it just, yeah, it. I'm gonna be very interested to see what happens over the next couple of years with the high-end desktop. I'm actually little side note. My photographer, I guess I have a photographer. I'm actually working with him to help. He was getting ready to build a new PC soon for his editing and stuff like that. I was like, sir, just wait a minute. I'm gonna help you put this together, and I'm gonna save you a lot of money. So, yeah, and AMD also did come out with their new Vega chips. I think it's the 56 and the 64X or something like that. They're their new graphics cards that kind of compete with the 1080, 1070 range. I have not really done a lot of research into those yet, but they are finally out. Unfortunately, what I've heard, though, is that they get really good hash rates, so they might actually still be hard to find for a while. Like, surprisingly good hash rate. So
hash rate.
Yeah. So miners maybe.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what that means.
It's the basically how good it is at doing the math for cryptocurrency.
Oh, God
how quickly
damn it!
Can it do the math per second, given like the input voltage and in clock speeds and whatnot? So
well,
yeah,
there it is.
Really
we'll never get
that
one.
Stuff.
It's just not going to be on the market. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's really sad as of late. Like if you look at deals and stuff online, and I browse, build a PC and hardware deals and stuff on Reddit all the time, and like pre-built machines right now are actually cheaper than parting them yourself. Because
what? That's nuts.
Yeah, but because the pre-built manufacturers still pay the MSRP and bulk pricing that people used to pay for, but because they get their stuff directly from the supplier differently.
Yeah, there's no.
They don't have to pay all those extra inflated costs that the consumer does, so they're able to give people PCs that cost several $100s less than they would if you were to part them out yourself right now.
Dang.
Which is like pre-built from like iBuyPower or like going to like a Costco?
iBuyPower, Costco, or like if like Asus or ASRock or something like that, were to put out their own, their own PCs. They have pre-builts and stuff like that. So, those things are kind of running cheaper right now, but the card prices are coming down. So that's a good thing, but we'll see. And that's all I got right now.
I guess it's all the speculative market of like Ethereum will be worth something one day. I hope it's not. Just because of how they fucked over the actual PC community. I hope it's worth nothing. I hope your imaginary money actually turns into imaginary money. Not to get into like a philosophical debate on like what real like American or Euro currency or whatever is actually worth, but we at least have a country to show that it's representative of something.
Well, there's one positive is that as people get out of mining, they usually start selling those cards, and eventually, the prices will come back down, and people will be able to buy used cards for relatively inexpensive. If you're okay with a little bit of risk in the fact that those cards have probably been run pretty hard for a while, but you never know, so there could be some good to come from it, maybe.
I mean, that's a large maybe.
Yeah.
But, your heart's in the right place, and I respect that.
But yeah, I mean, really, the big news has been Threadripper, and just how everybody that I follow has seemed to very much enjoy it and are very curious as to how Intel's going to respond, because it just seems really hard. Also, if you get a chance, go look at the actual Ryzen Threadripper unit. It is huge.
I want to see some real world performance going on with the new AMD GPUs, because I've been burned by AMD before, and I got burned bad. They're gonna have to work hard to get my trust back.
I mean, from what depending on what level, I mean, the 4 and the 500 series cards have been really good if you can get your hands on them. The 560, 570, and even the Fury X or whatever, like those cards have been pretty good from what I've heard for the most part. And actually, they've been pretty desirable for the mining too, because they have a really good, they're really efficient cards. So, and again, like I've heard decent stuff from the Vega release, but I'll report back more as I do a little more research into those cards. Yeah.
Word.
Yep. That's what I do.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I got a hankering for tacos and Sonic Mania. Should we go ahead and wrap this up?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think there's not much else I need to talk about.
I guess just the...
we can get hyper-political and talk about Nazis, but I'd rather not.
I think if there's anything to be said about... I think a lot of people most of them have already unfollowed us, which is a good thing, because I wouldn't want their business anyway.
That is true. We lost some followers when we said we were anti... I think it was just anti-Trump. But that's okay. We bounced back.
But it's...
last night took an
But we're all definitely... Pretty sure
Fuck
we're all,
Nazis.
Not punch Nazis,
Yeah.
They punch
just
first,
do
then
it,
you punch
okay?
back harder, and don't stop.
You can have a rational discussion with someone when their ideas don't involve the systematic elimination of, minorities. Then maybe we can talk about something. But until that's, no, punch Nazis.
At this point, I'm actually all for freedom of speech. I respect freedom of speech. You can have your dumbass ideas as much as you want, but the moment you inflict harm, you strike back. You don't stop striking until the threat is gone.
And I see, the other hilarious thing is that I think that a lot of them are hilariously learning these days, is that just because, free speech is a wonderful thing, but it also doesn't mean that you can just spew bullshit and not have consequences. So it doesn't. So you have the right to go to a white supremacist rally and chant Nazi, slogans at people, but your employer also has the right to look at that, ask and and see,
Say, hey, maybe this
guy,
doesn't align with our code of conduct.
This guy was at this rally. Don't come back to your job.
This guy's a fucker.
You have the right to say that, but they also have the right to think it's dumb and not what they want to associate with. And you are also, it's free. It's the freedom to say it. You're not free from the responsibility of your words.
Right.
That's not, and that's something people don't forget. People forget about sometimes.
GoDaddy
and I guess
Google
to tie this into gaming, I really do appreciate places like Discord. Starting to crack down on like a lot of those channels who, perpetuate a lot of really hateful ideas, and where a lot of a lot of events like this are organized, and like Charlottesville. So I think it's, and I think there's a couple other platforms that should start looking into doing that.
Reddit.
You know what? All I'll say is I just wish our president went as hard against, Nazis and white supremacists as he went against fucking Amazon and Merck and like.
Yeah.
He's not going to go hard against the last group of people that'll actually vote for him.
Yeah, it's a real. It's just hilarious. It's not funny, but it's
kind of funny.
It's for someone who really needs to maybe not look like a giant raging dumbass, and who have severe doubts about his ability to bring a nation together, Nazis descending on a town, and tragically a woman was killed by a terrorist.
Yeah,
he's
a terrorist. Don't call him anything else. He's a goddamn terrorist.
I again, not to bring levity here, but it should be a fucking layup, and it's just
how hard
there's only one
Nazis
reason why you just let that out there. It's because you sympathize with them, and that's really freaking disappointing. And
if you do, you suck, and I don't like you.
And unsubscribe to our podcast. But if you do like our content about games and other stuff, Josh, where can people find us?
Oh, well, you can find us here on YouTube at Unscripted Gaming, on Facebook as well at Unscripted Gaming. We're on Twitter at unscript_gaming. We are on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/unscripted-gaming. Oh my god, I can't remember. Yes.
This is your bit, man.
I don't know.
I forgot.
It's been a minute since I've done it.
No, I got you, fam. Keep stalling.
I got you, fam.
But if you don't want to get us on SoundCloud, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Play Music, we're on Stitcher, we're on Pocket Cast, where listen to podcasts.
We're just soundcloud.com/unscripted-gaming.
Oh, fucking got it. Yeah, I remember. So get us at one or all of those places, because we're awesome. You're awesome. We should be together.
I agree with this.
But
well said, Josh. Very eloquent.
I'm tired. It's been a long day.
You good?
I'm tired.
Me good.
All right. This has been Unscripted Gaming. I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
Fuck Nazis.
Peace.
Also, fuck Nazis.